Prince Harry thought having children with Meghan was about love, about building a family together, about creating the kind of warm, nurturing home he never fully had after losing his mother. He believed the decision to have Archie and Lilibet was mutual, organic, driven by genuine desire to be parents rather than strategic calculation. But according to palace sources who are now breaking their silence, Harry has recently discovered something that has shattered his understanding of his own family. Meghan allegedly had the children plan mapped out from day one of their relationship, not as a natural progression of marriage, as a calculated strategy to secure her position, create permanent leverage over Harry, and ensure she could never be fully removed from royal connection no matter what happened to the marriage. Want to know what palace sources claim Harry has learnt about how Meghan viewed having children? Insiders suggest he has seen documentation that allegedly proves Meghan spoke about having royal babies as a strategic goal before she was even engaged to Harry. That she discussed with advisors how children would make her untouchable, would give her permanent royal titles for the kids, would create emotional bonds Harry could never break even if the marriage failed. This is not about being a loving mother. According to sources, this is about Harry discovering that the children he adores were allegedly part of Meghan's long-term strategy from the moment she decided to pursue him, and that revelation has left him devastated. To understand what Harry allegedly discovered, you need to go back to Meghan's strategic thinking before she even married into the royal family. Long before Archie's birth, long before Lilibet's arrival, Meghan was reportedly mapping out exactly how children would fit into her plans for royal life and beyond. But here's what most people don't know. According to sources familiar with Meghan's conversations during the engagement period, she allegedly spoke about children not in terms of motherhood or family, but in terms of what they would provide strategically. She reportedly discussed with close advisors how royal babies would give her permanent connection to the monarchy that could never be fully severed, how the children would have titles and positions that would keep her relevant even if public opinion turned against her, how becoming a mother to future royals would create leverage she could use in any negotiation with the palace. People who allegedly heard these conversations describe being uncomfortable with how transactional Meghan's thinking seemed, not discussing hopes and dreams for children as individuals, but calculating how children would function as insurance policies and strategic assets. Word from insiders suggests Meghan allegedly studied how other royal mothers used their children's positions, how Diana leveraged her role as mother to future kings, how Sarah Ferguson maintained connection through her daughters, and according to sources, Meghan created a roadmap for using her own children in similar ways while presenting herself publicly as simply wanting to be a mother. Those close to the palace claim Meghan allegedly spoke about the children plan with advisors before she was even engaged. She reportedly calculated optimal timing for pregnancies, considered how quickly to have children to maximize their strategic value, and planned exactly how to position herself as protective mother if palace relationships deteriorated. This was not about falling in love with Harry and naturally wanting to build a family. According to insiders, this was allegedly about understanding from the beginning that children would be her most powerful long-term asset. This is where the story shifts from Meghan's alleged planning to Harry's devastating discovery. So when did Harry learn that his children might have been part of Meghan's strategy from day one? According to sources close to the prince, the revelation came through palace documentation that tracked Meghan's conversations before and during the early marriage. Want to know what those documents allegedly contain? Insiders claim palace staff who worked closely with Meghan during the engagement and early marriage kept detailed records of her discussions about children, and those records reportedly show Meghan speaking about having royal babies in purely strategic terms before she ever expressed genuine maternal feelings to Harry. People familiar with what Harry saw suggest the documentation includes Meghan's alleged conversations with advisors about how children would prevent the palace from ever fully cutting her off, how kids would give her permanent victim narrative if she chose to leave, how becoming mother to Harry's children would create emotional leverage that could be used in perpetuity. According to sources, reading this documentation allegedly devastated Harry because it suggested the family he thought they built together was actually part of a plan Meghan had before she ever told him she wanted children, that when she expressed desire to start a family, when she spoke about wanting to be a mother, when she allegedly pushed for quick pregnancies, she was executing a strategy rather than responding to natural maternal instinct. Word from insiders suggests what broke Harry's heart was not just the strategic thinking, but the timing. That Meghan allegedly had this children plan mapped out before they were even engaged, before she claimed to love him, before she could have known what kind of father he would be or what their marriage would actually become. The plan existed independent of their relationship reality, and Harry was apparently never told that his desire for family was being met by someone who allegedly saw children as strategic assets first and beloved individuals second. As news of Harry's discovery spread through palace circles, reactions revealed how long this information had been known and hidden. How did the palace respond when Harry finally learned about Meghan's alleged children's strategy? Inside Buckingham Palace, sources say there is profound conflict about whether this information should have been shared with Harry earlier. Senior advisors allegedly knew about Meghan's strategic discussions regarding children before Archie was born. They reportedly heard her speak about royal babies as leverage and security rather than as family members to cherish. And according to insiders, they faced an impossible choice. Tell Harry that his wife allegedly viewed their future children as strategic assets and risked destroying the marriage before it solidified, or stay silent and hope Meghan's strategic thinking would transform into genuine maternal love once the children arrived. People close to palace decision-making claimed they chose silence because they feared Harry would not believe them, that he would accuse them of trying to destroy his marriage out of prejudice, that he would cut them off entirely if they suggested Meghan's desire for children was calculated rather than heartfelt. According to sources, palace staff regret that decision now because Harry discovered the truth anyway and feels betrayed that people who knew stayed silent. Meanwhile, Prince William's reaction is reportedly more complicated. Word from those close to the Prince of Wales suggests William heard whispers about Meghan's children's strategy early on. He allegedly tried to discuss with Harry whether rushing into having children might be premature given how quickly the relationship had progressed. And Harry, according to sources, accused William of trying to control his family planning out of jealousy. Now, insiders claim William watches his brother process revelations he tried to warn about, and the vindication feels hollow. And in California, sources suggest Meghan is furious that palace sources are confirming her alleged strategic thinking about children. According to insiders, she frames this as more attacks designed to paint her as calculating when she claims she simply understood that having children would complicate any attempt by the palace to push her out. But people familiar with the documentation claim her own words reveal thinking that went far beyond protective instinct into deliberate strategic planning. But here's what most people don't know. What specific elements of Meghan's alleged children plan have palace sources documented? The revelations paint a picture of calculation that Harry never suspected. The first element involves timing. According to sources familiar with Meghan's alleged planning, she calculated that having children quickly would create facts on the ground before palace relationships could deteriorate too far, that royal babies would make her position more secure, would give her leverage in any conflicts, would create sympathetic narratives if she chose victim positioning later. Insiders claim Meghan allegedly discussed optimal timing for pregnancies with advisors, considering how quickly to have children to maximize strategic benefit before public opinion might turn. The second element is more cynical. Multiple sources claim Meghan allegedly spoke about how children would provide permanent connection to royalty even if the marriage ended. That Archie and Lilibet would carry titles, would have inheritance rights, would be part of the line of succession. And Meghan, according to insiders, allegedly calculated that as the mother of these children, she could never be fully removed from royal relevance no matter what happened to her relationship with Harry or the institution. The third element involves leverage. Word from palace sources suggests Meghan allegedly discussed how children would make it harder for Harry to ever leave her or question her decisions, that creating a family would trap Harry emotionally, would make him prioritise keeping the family together over addressing concerns about Meghan's behaviour, would give her ultimate leverage in any negotiation because she could threaten to withhold access to his children. And the fourth element is what allegedly devastates Harry most. Sources claim Meghan reportedly discussed with advisors how to use the children's position and Harry's emotional attachment to them as weapons if palace relationships deteriorated, how to position herself as protective mother defending children from racist institution, how to leverage Harry's guilt about his children experiencing anything like he did losing his mother, how to make the children central to any victim narrative she might need to deploy. According to insiders, this suggests Meghan allegedly saw the children as tools before they were even conceived. To understand how Meghan developed this alleged children's strategy, you need to understand who advised her. So who were the figures that allegedly helped Meghan calculate how to use royal children for maximum strategic benefit? The first figure, according to sources, was someone in her advisory circle who understood royal dynamics and allegedly helped Meghan recognise that children would be her most valuable long-term asset. Insiders claim this advisor allegedly explained how royal mothers maintain relevance through their children, how maternal positioning creates sympathetic narratives, how children provide permanent leverage that survives beyond any individual relationship or role. People familiar with this advisor's involvement suggest they allegedly helped Meghan understand she needed to have children quickly and position herself as devoted mother publicly while using the children's existence strategically in private negotiations. Word from sources claims this architect of the children plan allegedly framed it not as manipulation, but as smart planning for someone entering a difficult institution. The second architect was reportedly someone who understood media strategy and helped Meghan calculate how children would function in public narratives. According to insiders, this person allegedly advised Meghan on optimal timing for pregnancy announcements, how to leverage maternal imagery, how to use the children's mixed-race heritage as protection against criticism, how to position any palace conflicts as threats to innocent children rather than disputes about adult behaviour. Sources suggest this advisor allegedly helped Meghan recognise that royal babies would be her most powerful public relations asset and should be deployed strategically rather than shielded entirely from public life. These architects, according to palace sources, created a framework where Meghan allegedly viewed children not primarily as beloved family members, but as strategic elements in her long-term positioning. What makes this situation truly dangerous is what palace sources have allegedly documented about Meghan's thinking. Want to know what evidence exists proving the children plan was strategic from day one? According to insiders familiar with palace files, staff members documented Meghan's conversations about children during the engagement and early marriage period, and those documents reportedly show a woman discussing royal babies in terms of what they would provide for her rather than who they would be as individuals. Word from sources suggests the files include notes from meetings where Meghan allegedly asked about children's titles, inheritance positions, security entitlements, not from maternal concern, but from strategic calculation about what advantages children would create. People familiar with the documentation claim it includes Meghan allegedly discussing how quickly to have children to maximise benefit, how to leverage pregnancy and motherhood for positive press, how to use children's existence as protection against palace accountability. According to insiders, this documented evidence is what allegedly devastated Harry when he finally saw it, because it suggested the children he adores were part of a plan Meghan had before she ever expressed love for him. That Archie and Lilibet exist at least partly because of strategic calculations rather than purely from desire to build a family together. Sources claim the palace has kept this documentation confidential out of respect for the children and to avoid appearing cruel to Harry. But according to insiders, if Meghan continues attacking the institution, palace tolerance for protecting her secrets is eroding. And confirmation that the children were allegedly part of her strategy from day one would fundamentally undermine her victim narrative. And now we reach the final truth that Harry must confront about his own family. How does a father survive discovering his children may have been part of his wife's strategic plan from the beginning? Harry stands in California, reportedly heartbroken by revelations that suggest Meghan viewed having children as strategic necessity before expressing genuine maternal desire. According to sources close to the prince, he struggles with impossible contradictions. He loves Archie and Lilibet completely. But he allegedly now questions whether Meghan wanted them primarily because she loved the idea of being a mother or because she understood children would give her permanent leverage and security. Word from insiders suggests Harry cannot reconcile the devoted mother Meghan appears to be with the strategic planner allegedly documented in palace files. That every maternal gesture now raises questions about whether it is genuine feeling or performed positioning. Those familiar with Harry's emotional state claim he feels trapped by this knowledge. He cannot confront Meghan without risking conflict that affects the children. He cannot ignore what he learnt without living in constant doubt about his wife's true motivations. According to sources, Harry watches Meghan with their children and wonders if she sees them as he does, beloved individuals, or as strategic assets that serve their purpose securing her position. The palace confirmation of the children plan allegedly makes this unbearable, because it is not just Harry's private suspicion, it is institutional documentation that Meghan allegedly discussed having royal babies in strategic terms before they existed, and Harry must decide whether to keep living with that knowledge silently or confront truths that could shatter his family, because in the end, the most devastating betrayals are not about what others do to us. They are about discovering the people we trusted most viewed our deepest emotions as strategic opportunities. And Harry's discovery that his desire for family may have been met by someone executing a calculated plan is a betrayal that changes everything while leaving him powerless to change anything at all. Subscribe to Palace Unfiltered for more such news. Thanks for watching.